Amen to this.
Parents have almost forgotten what the role of a parent is.
Amen.
It's like, okay,
Lost control.
if your little boy comes to you and says, "Daddy, I want to be a girl," and you just let him rock with that, you just let.
Right.
He's 5.
Right. And where did he get that
If
from?
you let this 5-year-old boy decide to eat candy all day, he's gonna do that.
Exactly.
Like when did it become a good idea to let a 5-year-old, let a 6-year-old, let a 12-year-old make a life-changing decision for themselves?
Right.
When did that happen?
Right.
Like I don't understand that. I don't get that.
And to medicate these young kids that are 5, 6, growing up and knowing that it affects their brain, it affects their organs, it makes them sick, but they're not allowed to do drugs, they're not allowed to do alcohol.
Right.
We can medicate
He
them
can't
up.
drive a car yet, but he can decide his sex.
Right, right. What sexual orientation, and he can cut off his pee-pee, and that, to me, that makes no sense whatsoever. They want us to have no control over our children.
I don't get it.
In schools,
I don't get it.
Hospitals, libraries.
Yeah.
They just want to manipulate. You got to understand, when they're so young and they're already, that's
impressionable.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And from them, they're going to believe what you say. I mean, we say Santa Claus is real, you know, the Easter Bunny.
Believe it, like,
right, exactly. Like, they know what they're doing.
Remember who you're dealing with. Like, I can't take credit for it, but I heard somebody say one time, he's like, all right, if your son comes to you and says, "Daddy, I want to be a girl," ask your son, "Son, what is a girl?"
That's a good one.
What is he going to do? He's going to say, well, he might want to play with dolls. All right, you want to play with dolls. Fine, play with dolls. Right. But you're a boy playing with dolls.
So sick of cowards, so sad I know. So there you had Neo in that interview. It was on Vlad TV with Gloria Velez. Didn't know who she was before. She was like a glam model. She was one of these like video vixens from the hip hop videos back in the noughties. But you had Neo and Gloria, just basic common sense with all the stuff that's going on right now in the world and all these issues, and trying to gaslight people into not believing that, hey, that there's actually more than 2 frickin' genders out there. There are 2 genders. It's male and female, full stop. But with, it was basic common sense, really, that these guys were talking, and a guy like Neo, it's not like Neo is, like a Jordan Peterson, Harvard, Yale, MBA graduate, just, keeps it simple. But it was very true, the stuff about, I'm saying about how, when you're that age, 5 or 6, you don't know what the hell you're doing at that age as a kid, and if, you, like the parents, if they were to just say, shoot, oh, well, I can just, oh, hey, son, hey, just go and, you can eat all the candy you want in the world, then they would go ahead and do it. They'll do whatever they want to do. So how can they be in a place at that age of 5, 6, even, 7 years old to make a life-changing decision from going to, if it was a boy to a girl or a girl to a boy? Kids don't know what the hell they're doing at that age. Christ, I can remember when I was like 5 or 6 and I was like playing about with matches, and thankfully I didn't light a fire, but that is the kind of things that you can do. You're very impressionable, from what you see on TV, movies, all the people around you. There's no way you're in a position to be like, hey, no, I know, like, you're a boy. Oh no, I'm a girl. I want to be a girl. To me, me personally, a decision like that isn't. You shouldn't be making a decision like that until maybe you're maybe 16, probably really, or 18 should be the earliest that you could make a decision like that. So yeah, though. So, but with this, interview with Neo, so he was on Vlad TV. And usually when you're on a clown like DJ Vlad's channel, that's a obvious sign that you're not relevant in popular culture anymore. It was just a funny one with this Neo, and I almost was tempted to do a video on it a day or 2 ago. And a lot of people at that time were praising Neo. Oh, I even saw hashtag I stand with Neo. People trying to get that trending on Twitter. But it just seems like a lot of these conservatives, ultimately, they have jumped the gun on praising Neo. I was watching this channel. It was a guy. It was a black conservative. That's the name of his title on his YouTube channel. But you see this picture here. He caved into the mob, Neo. After much of reflection, I'd like to express my deepest apologies to anyone that I may have hurt with my comments on parenting and gender identity. I've always been an advocate for love and inclusivity in the LGBTQI community. So I understand how my comments could have been interpreted as insensitive and offensive. Gender identity is nuanced, and I can honestly admit that I plan to better educate myself on the topic, so I can I can approach future conversations with more empathy. At the end of the day, I lead with love and support, I lead with love and support everyone's freedom of expression and pursuit of happiness. So this maybe one of his, probably his PR team helped them write up this statement, but just really no backbone, and maybe it was just that gut instinct in me that I was just like a little bit unsure not to comment and be like, you know, oh, I salute Neo for this. Because we see how these things can go, right? We've seen, you know, Howard Donald, he issues a groveling apology with the stuff when he got cancelled because previous tweets that he'd liked being, you know, that were in relation to being critical of the radical trans agenda. And then he apologized. He caved into the woke mob. So I don't know if everyone, no one should really be surprised that Neo apologized, number one, because this has happened before, you know. And Neo, I mean, let's face it, Neo at one point was quite a big name, you know. You know, when you're talking about, when you're going back to like So Sick, Sexy Love days, and even with Miss Independent, 1 in a Million, he was a big deal. You know, and I mean, really, for now 10 or so years, he's not been relevant, really. He hasn't really had many hits, and which is surprising for a guy like him, you know. I thought a guy like Neo would have that kind of longevity and, like, with his career, star power, be like a, you know, like a modern-day Michael Jackson. Not quite at that level, but still, you know, up there when it comes to quality talent. But I mean, Neo, I mean, it's not, I don't think really Neo is like conservative or anything. You know, Neo isn't red pilled. There was another Neo from the Matrix, it was, I think. But you know, I mean, I remember, funnily enough, Neo, I followed him on his Facebook, and like 8 years ago, there was a post of him being critical of the Kardashians. So, you know, Neo, I suppose Neo can think for himself in some of these things. He's not always just going to go along with what's popular. But at the end of the day, though, he caved to the mob. You know, you should always stick to your guns, have the courage of your convictions. And to me, ultimately, it was wrong. You know, if you were worried about the consequences, you know, you shouldn't have said anything. You know, ultimately in the end, because I can't believe Neo would be stupid to believe that these things wouldn't get picked up. You know, Vlad, okay. Vlad isn't getting like a Jay-Z to come on his show, but still, you know, these things are going to pick up and get steam and get people talking, you know, on social media. But I mean, the thing with Neo, so what happened probably was, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Probably, you know, he got a call, very threatening call to, you know, backtrack on what he said, to issue an apology. Maybe it was as far as, you know, his management agency, you know, threatened to drop him. And then in the end, it was like, oh shit, because, you know, it's very much with the music business, perception is reality. And if it comes out, you know, his management agency dropped him, and it's maybe not good because then other people would drop him, and, you know, other people wouldn't want to work with him. So in the end, he probably, all those fears, you know, that was running through his mind, and he decided, okay, no, I'll say sorry. Not because he probably, you know, he said sorry to appease other people, and you never should do that. But that's a sad thing, because in the end, you should stick by your guns no matter what the cost is. You know, you get a lot of talk online about people that might be like on the right, that might be like controlled opposition, this, that, the other. But when it comes to this stuff with like the radical trans agenda, you know, like when it comes to this, you know, you've got that guy Matt Walsh that did that film What Is a Woman. like I know for certain when it comes to this stuff specifically with Matt Walsh, you know that is a hill he's prepared to die on. This is a hill that a Jordan Peterson is prepared to die on, and I'm sure all the other guys in the Daily Wire are too. J.K. Rowling as well. People try to demonize her a lot, and all that silly stuff that Oxfam did about almost like encouraging that you should like punch a turf or whatever, or some I don't know that was necessarily what they did, but something like turf like that, which is supposed to be like a like a slur for people who are like I guess are supposed to be trans haters, and it was the sketch was very clearly somebody that looked like almost like it was like you could it was obvious that this was supposed to somebody who resembled J.K. Rowling, but I mean I'll tell you something though, there's like the conspiracy theorist in me that thinks like this could all just be staged, and that Neo knew what he was doing. Neo to have the success that he had, he's like, you got to play the game. This isn't by accident. This isn't by chance. For him to be, working with people like Beyonce, and one of her real big hits, Irreplaceable. He wrote that, produced it as well. He wrote Hate That I Love You by Rihanna, Jennifer Hudson's Spotlight. Some big hits, so Neo is like up there, maybe not up there like it was before, and maybe that, maybe he got to a point where he refused to play the game, and that's why, you don't hear from him as much anymore. But who knows? It could all just be a big conspiracy, and it's all staged, and it's all to just get a reaction, like have Neo make an example out of Neo, That's maybe it could be a big industry thing. Just have him make an example out of him, and then let others know, hey, this is what can happen, right away. If you go off script, this is what can happen to you, and right away we will get an apology out of you. You'll play our game, or we will end you. And yeah, so that it's possible, could be one big conspiracy theory. You never know. But in the end, though, let's just say that he went on this he went on DJ Vlad. They got talking about this. He gave his opinion, and in the end, maybe he didn't really think of like quite the backlash at the time, and now it's come back, and he's like, oh, okay, damn, I better do this for the betterment of my career going forward. I'll say sorry. But I still feel that that's the wrong thing to do, though, because, when you've got this stuff going on with, the NHS England, they're drawing up plans as young as 7, for kids to receive transgender treatment, despite having a Tavistock clinic that was closed down, but they're still setting up these other regional centres, though. But they closed down a Tavistock clinic, and Tavistock, trust me, has a lot to answer for the psychological operations they've pulled over the years on the public. But they found the Tavistock clinic wasn't safe for children. But so there is definitely this radical trans agenda here, and they're pushing it on us, and they're trying to shove it down our throats. And we really do have to fight back, because it really is just wrong. It is. It's criminal and evil what they are doing, and I think it could be even worse. I mean, based on what stuff Neo was saying about around LA, that it could really be worse than what they're doing, and it could be very much as soon as you start elementary school, and they'll be teaching this to your children. So it seems to be that it's really it's really bad for it in America. No, it's people just have to, this would definitely be a hill I'm prepared to die on, but obviously it doesn't seem that's how it was with Neo, and, just a coward, really, and then you just got to stick to your guns, no matter what, in the end, you didn't have to say that stuff, you chose to say it, you chose to go on the, you chose to do the interview, on Vlad TV, but, there you have it. So those are my thoughts anyway on all that, guys, so let me know what you think on this. Leave a comment, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and I should be back very shortly for a live stream. So Thanks very much, guys. See ya.